We are, let's see here. Why don't we go to, is it Adrian from San Francisco? Adrian, welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hi, David. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Well, thanks for having me, David. If you don't mind, I'd like to be a little bit mean today.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you a question based on my impression of your coverage about Trump's cognitive decline. So I noticed that you had a lot of coverage on Trump's cognitive issues. He says a lot of bizarre things, and you also had some experts on who had some pretty interesting and compelling evidence that Trump was experiencing a potential mild cognitive impairment. But from my perspective, and feel free to correct me here, it seemed like you did not have as much coverage on Biden's cognitive decline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his cognitive decline was quite apparent, at least from my perspective, in that debacle of a debate this week. So I
Yeah.
wanted to just directly ask you, before the debate happened, before the whole event happened, what was your assessment of the cognitive ability of both candidates? So
So
before the
this
debate,
is a good
yeah.
question, Adrian. Let's take the questions one by one. Let's start with that. So as a non-professional in this field myself, I was relying on experts. When I would give the experts the opportunity to weigh in on both Trump and Biden, their consensus pre-debate was Biden seems to be experiencing appropriate and expected age-related slowing down, whereas Trump is having a more serious issue. That was their view. And as a non-expert myself, that's what I went with. We have since seen not only Biden's performance at the debate, but we now have sourced reporting that says there are people around Biden managing his schedule to make him be out in public during his better hours. So now that I have additional information, my perspective has changed. Again, as a non-expert who's just following what are the experts saying, what are the sources saying?
Yeah, that's very fair. No, thanks so much for helping me understand your perspective, David.
All right, Adrian from San Francisco. And by the way, I should mention, I think it's important to include in this discussion. Um, there's a poll that finds 72% of Americans believe Biden's unfit to serve. 50% believe Trump's unfit to serve. So the gap, while not zero, is not as insignificant as one might believe. And in a sense, the fitness is close to even. It's not, I understand, it's 50 and 72. It's not even. I'm not pretending it is. But it's not that 98% of the country thinks Trump is fit to serve and only 28% thinks Biden is fit to serve. An interesting detail, which may play a role over the forthcoming months. Let's go next to Bub from Texas, who I see is also a website member. Bub, thank you and welcome to the show. What's going on with you? What's on your mind today?
Hello, Mr. Pagman. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I just want to applaud you for your willingness to go into hostile interviews. I think one of the main benefits of it is it exposes you to people who might not otherwise hear you. I discovered you on TikTok, and it was a clip from the Patrick Bet David show that
Mm.
was clipped in a way to make you look ridiculous. But I'm like, hey, this cat's making a lot of sense. So I just want to say I really think you're on to something. Yeah, and you do it with a lot of right-wing spaces, and I was wondering if it was possible to get into those hardcore leftist spaces and kind of do
You
the
know,
same thing.
I don't know that there is as much to be gained from doing that, as counterintuitive as that might sound. And also, the type of toxicity that exists in the hardcore left spaces you're talking about is so vile to me that for my own mental health, I choose to limit my involvement in it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But yeah, that's all I had. I just want to say keep up the good work.
All right, Bub from Texas, great to hear from you. Very much appreciated. Why don't we go next to, how about Evan from New Hampshire? Evan, welcome to the David Pakman Show on the eve of the 4th of July. What's going on?
Hello, David. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much. I've been on before, so thank you for letting me on again.
Pleasure.
I just wanted to ask you, in more of a reflection on the past couple of years, or really since Donald Trump has been elected, how do you think the show has changed, and you've changed as a person doing this work?
Well, the how I've changed as a person is tough because if I go back to 2016, before Trump was president, that was 8 years ago. I didn't have a kid back then. I had done a lot less traveling. It was pre-pandemic. I mean, it's very difficult to say how have I changed as a result of Trump being president. But as far as the show, here's the thing. The show goes through phases, and the phases are generically the side we support is in power, and then the side we support is out of power. It happened with Barack Obama. It happened with George W. Bush. It happened with Barack Obama. It happened with Trump. It's happening with Biden. It may happen again with Trump. These shows, and shows on the right as well, they naturally evolve depending on whether you are seen as more or less in agreement, as the term may be, with the forces that are in power. Now, it doesn't mean that I agree with everything Biden does, but obviously I voted for Biden. The guy I voted for is currently in power. That naturally affects the show. And in addition to that, I think one of the biggest influences on the show over the last couple of years has been what I see as a legitimately growing threat from the possibility of 4 more Trump years that simply wasn't there in 2012, for example, when it was Obama versus Romney. I preferred Obama over Romney, right, Evan? But I didn't go around saying the foundations of our democracy depend on this election. I agreed with Obama's tax plan more than Romney, et cetera. But there is a different feel to what's going on right now. And I think that naturally affects the show.
Yeah, I've definitely I started watching it, 8 years ago after 2016 was out. I was still in high school. And so it's been interesting following you that this whole time. I've definitely noticed, I really enjoyed how you supported Luke Beasley and seeing his show pop up, because I think you talked about that, where the right wing invests like millions of dollars into, building up these influencers and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And I really appreciate that. I mean, between you and Luke, building up Luke's channel as well, I think that's really great. And you should keep doing that, supporting left wing talk shows and other influencers that are really trying to make a difference out there.
We will do it, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Have a lovely day. Thank you very much.
All right. There goes Evan from New Hampshire. Let's go next to Eric from Denmark, one of my favorite places I've visited. Eric from Denmark, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. It's great to be back. I think I was back here last almost 2 years ago when I just started in the Army. I wanted to ask you in regards to the issue right now that a lot of us are facing is the potential of Trump obviously coming back into the White House again. And I think that threat has become significantly higher after the last debate. And I'm wondering, how do you think the U.S.'s relationship to many of its traditional allies will be affected by another extra 4 years of Trump in the White House?
I think it'll be more of what we saw during Trump's first 4 years, which is that we will be increasingly alienated from and ostracized by our traditional democratic Western allies under Trump. Opinion of the U.S. will decline as it did the last time under Trump. And that Trump will then, because he's so enamored with them, continue to cozy up, for lack of a better term, to the autocrats and the authoritarians and the dictators, and to be enamored with their strength and fortitude and all of it. And I think big picture, Eric, I think it'll be a pretty serious humiliation for the United States if that were to happen.
I largely agree with that. I also think another big problem is that the United States increasingly is being seen less and less as a reliable partner internationally, because It seems like now, when it comes to foreign policy, there is no United States any longer. It's entirely based on the whims of whomever is in power.
Yes.
And
well, but not equally. Let me add one thing to that, Eric. It is true, but it's not that Trump and Biden both are indifferent to the commitments the U.S. has made or whatever, right? I mean, it's true that Trump said, Iran nuclear deal, I don't really like it, I'm out, even though Iran didn't violate the deal. It's true that it was Trump who started to talk about, well, maybe not NATO, maybe we don't come to the defense of our allies, or with the Paris Climate Agreement, I'm out of that. So it is absolutely true that the U.S. is not a trustworthy negotiating partner with someone like that at the helm. But Biden is not like that at all. Biden does respect our commitments.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And I mean, generally, I think that Biden, for instance, has been pretty okay on Ukraine. I do think he's been a bit weaker than what I would like. But the problem is that the United States, as it's viewed internationally, kind of is viewed as, swinging back and forth between radically different positions depending on who is in power. And that is something that's going to have really reverberating effects in the future. Even if Trumpism is soundly defeated after maybe even after he wins, and in 2028 there's a big democratic sweep,
Yeah.
there will still be this lingering history of, well, can we truly trust the United States? And that's a really scary thing for many of us in Europe to
Yep.
kind of be confronted with because of the war in Ukraine, because Ukraine's success in many ways also depends on continued American support. And if Trump goes in and he decides to just, cut off all aid to Ukraine, or God forbid, even try to pressure Ukraine into some type of quote unquote peace deal with Russia that will
Yeah.
maybe freeze the conflict for another few years and then restart it in the future, a lot of us are going to be in deep crap. And I'm really, really worried about what kind of, reverberating effects that will have for the international alliances the US has set up across the entire world. Also with countries like China eyeing Taiwan increasingly.
I agree with you 100%, Eric. Thank you for making the point.
Thank you.
All right, Eric from Denmark.